Yet another turn here in War of the Ring. Now, this one's a little different than the last one. First of all, the Fellowship player has started moving some of his forces, and he's got Brand here with a pile of troops not quite ready to take Thranduil's palace, but Celeborn, Dane, all gathering there. He's got the forces in Michael Delving. They're not enough to take Hobbiton. They're going to head down and maybe threaten things like Helm's Deep and Edoras. Just, trying to make sure, okay, it won't just fall at once, because this is the turn where it might. Saruman has charged over here to take Dol Amroth. Now, Minas Tirith isn't going to fall in one blow. That's not going to happen for a long time with 72 troops in there. But once everything else falls, then it becomes much, much harder. There's no room for getting away cheap. But almost anything, even 2 strength points, can hold Minas Tirith for 2 turns. It's almost impossible. The results, unless the Sauron player gets overwhelming odds, are unlikely to make any size force able to fall quickly. Right now it's 70 strength points. There's no way it's going to go quickly. But we'll see how it goes. Right now, though, let's see what the attack on Dol Amroth is like. We've sent some Haradrim out there under Saruman. Saruman gets his magic spells. He's a bee sorcerer. Well, he didn't get any bonus, so he's only at +1. He's facing 15. He's got 50. That's 3-1, though. At +1, that's pretty good. And a 7, he does 50%. He's going to kill 3 of the Dol Amroth troops, and that's going to fall pretty quickly. Over here, we've got 1-1 still, and we got to check the Lord of the Nazgul with his bee. 2, he gets +1. That's going to even him out. And we get the roll against the Fellowship there as well. A big bad 6. 20% losses on the Fellowship. That's going to be another 14 units. That's starting to tell. But we're 50 down from there. We're somewhere around 260, I think, for the Sauron player. So they're not gaining that much ground here, even with these big losses. Another 14 strength points puts it down in the 60s. It's still not going to be 2-1 yet. Okay, and here the Dark Power player is making 3 attacks. Spent most of his points just attacking this turn. One of them, he sent the Chief of the Dunlendings down at not great odds, 1-1 really, against these dwarves and elves. Really trying to cut their numbers down so that they can't threaten much. He's left the majority of his forces up in Hobbiton to defend it. Now, he's got a +3 on this 1-1 attack. And that gives him a 5. He takes 10%, they take 20. 10% for him is going to be 1. 20% for them will, of course, be 2. We'll kill some dwarves. I like killing dwarves better. What? Is that racist? Let's see. And we'll get some more here. Now, it's kind of annoying because the evil player has no chance of losing his forces, or his leaders, when he attacks. Whereas the Fellowship has this real problem with this. Let's take another attack here, Saruman, and I had to pay 3 for each of these attacks. It only cost me 1 to move into place to attack. Let's pay for the let's make the Dol Amroth attack. First we cast our spell. Bee Sorcery. That's going to give us +3 total on the table. Now this is quite a heavy attack. I've got almost 10-1 here, so I'm on the top of the chart. +3 gives me a 5. I do 30%. That's only going to be 1 unit though. And then over here, we're still over 150 total. So that's 1-1, but we got the Lord of the Nazgul's magic. And he ranks it in at a 3, which means he'll be a +2 against Aragorn. And gets a 4. That's going to be 20% each with a kill on the Fellowship characters. And we'll lose Boromir here. Finally. Which means, yeah, we'll give all his cool stuff to Faramir, but the pile's getting smaller and smaller. And the player characters available are getting smaller and smaller. What did I say, 20% each? Bang. That's not going to change the odds, but it does change when Saruman's done here how much his extra forces are going to add to that attack. One thing we see though, Mouth of Sauron is up here and he's facing a lot of troops against him. He may well be defeated. The reinforcements I was sending forward aren't going to make it in time. The attack's going to be able to fall before that. So Thranduil's palace ends up being a last refuge for the free people. Okay, so Celeborn has gathered his forces together. This is on the Fellowship side of things. And he's attacking the Mouth of Sauron. I have to roll shadow points at this point. I normally don't roll them until the Dark Power part, and I know that's not how you're supposed to do it. But I've got to pay 2 of them to defend at full strength here. Now, even at full strength, I've only got 19 points there. That's a 38. There's over 80 points for the good side. So it's a 2-to-1 attack. The 19 to 38 is because of the woods. 2-to-1, well, we've got 2 things in play here. The Mouth of Sauron's a 2 leadership, Celeborn's a 3. Celeborn can get aid from Galadriel, but only within a close range of Lothlorien, and he's not close enough. Mouth of Sauron, however, is a sea sorcerer, and he can actually end up better than Celeborn. He does, he's at +2, so it's going to be a -1 to the die roll on the 2-to-1 table, and we'll see what starts happening here. The Fellowship player kind of needs to win this battle, or else Minas Tirith becomes the game. Now, what did I say? -1, right? Both sides take 20%, and there's a K, so the Fellowship, I guess, loses 1. Never sure which or whether that's the correct order. Let's kill good old Dane the Second there. I'm probably overkilling Fellowship leaders because the K's show up on both sides of the chart, and in this case the attacking K would have been in effect, but I've been giving them no matter which side they show up on. I think that's incorrect. So there may be 1 or 2 extra leaders that should be there, which would certainly free up things better. Now, what were we at? 3? That's going to be 20% each. Both sides are going to fight this out, so I'll come back at the end with whatever happened. Well, after a second round of that, Brand is dead as well, and that's following the correct rules. And Celeborn's decided to pull back. Why? Well, largely because with the Mouth of Sauron's good die roll for sorcery, he thinks he's got a better chance. He still can get 2-to-1 odds if he hits again next turn. Those dull Golder orcs aren't going to make it up there, so he's going to pull back, regroup, and try again later. Now, we've got some other fights, though. We've got to look at what the Dark Power player is going to do. He's going to have to spend 6 to use these. That leaves him with 4 points left. What does he want to do with those 4? Well, he can keep pressing on against this, and that's probably the best thing he can do rather than try to push up there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to spend all 10. 1. Oh, he can't reach. Ooh, I'm not sure. Well, given that he can't really reach, let's start moving. 1, 2, 3, 4. This instead. That gives me 1 more point, which I can move these with. 2, 3, 4, 5. And charge down with them. Alright, now we got our fights. Well, this one's almost guaranteed. In fact, I believe it is guaranteed. But let's just roll it out. Saruman's got B magic. Look, he gets +2 more, so he's at +3. On the big table, 10-to-1. There's no way he can take losses. He's automatically causing some losses. Hold on, 5. Only 30%. That's not going to kill a Gondor unit. He has to get 50%, which means he has to roll a little better. He didn't get his kill. And yes, it's that painful. All right, on to the next one here. We've got this figured out. This is 126 strength points to 208. Lord of the Nazgul has a B sorcery rating. That gets him a +2. So he's going to be +1 over Aragorn. But he's on the 1-to-1 table still. He gets a 5. That means 10% for him, 20 for the Fellowship. 10% for him. It's going to be 20 troops. 20 for the Fellowship is going to be about 8 troops. So, but tripled, the Fellowship's definitely losing more. Okay, pretty much where we were at the end of last turn. And let's see what the shadow points are, because Celeborn's attacking again. Shadow points are only going to be an 8. He's got to spend 2 to defend himself at Thranduil's palace. The elves are going to play orcs in a state of battle frenzy. I could have saved it here, maybe more important place, but here's the thing. They only attack once here. Here, I can attack until the mouth retreats. So it's more valuable for me on the attack in a non-siege situation than it is defending in a siege. Alright, let's see what we got here. I've got 13 is 26 strength points versus 30, 40, 50, 55. 26 to 55, I've got the 2-to-1 odds. I've got the Mouth of Sauron rolling his spell. He's a sea wizard. He does not get any magic, so I'm already +1 on him. +2, +3 on the 2-to-1 table. And that puts me to a 5. I lose 10%, they're going to lose 20. And this is the kind of painful situation where the Dark Power player really needs to hold this space. They can't win if they get driven out of there without a lot more effort. Not only are they going to have to take -2 Earth, but then they're going to have to start launching large forces up there to take Thranduil's palace away from this fairly mighty force. So it's kind of a torn situation. If he pulls out, he saves some of his troops. If he doesn't pull out, they're probably eliminated. And I don't know. It's a hard situation to judge. 30, 40, 50. What did I say? 20, 30, 40, 50, 55. They're going to lose 6 strength points. Let's give them 4 elves back. And on their side, it's 20% of 13, which is 2.6. They lose 3 strength points. I'm going to take that all in orcs, I guess. I don't really like losing the orcs. But so now it's 20 to 30, 40, 45, 49. 2-to-1 at +3. I'm going to cause more damage on here if I keep fighting. So I'm going to keep fighting it out. And I've kind of got to do that. Well, I'll come back at the end whenever I decide that the evil players had enough in that battle. Well, one round was 10% losses on each side. Seemed worth sticking around in the hopes, although it's actually impossible playing correctly for the casualty to happen, in the hopes of maybe a character casualty. Or at least doing more damage while the enemy's undoubled. But now the second one was an 80% loss, and the Mouth of Sauron fell back after that. Thranduil's palace is really not worth going for now. Now, it's not really until -2 Earth falls that the evil player can move towards a victory. And when that happens, of course, the Fellowship can move forward and make their attacks, or make their movement into Ordrum. So what? Was it worth sticking around? I mean, what's going to happen? This is not going to go the Fellowship player's way. It's just not going to happen. So why don't they just get it over with and go in and try to drop the ring? Because it really doesn't make a difference at this point. I don't know. I think I've really got to, because whatever you do on the board with these armies, it doesn't matter. It's the ring, man. The Fellowship player can look at the board and say, I can't win the military game here. Yes, I won this battle here. Yes, the Dark Power player, I can make him go through all kind of contortions before he can win, but he will win with the armies he has on the board eventually, I think. Am I sure, though? No. So I think I have to play it out. I'll load this one up after... Well, let me do the Dark Power player's turn, and then I'll load it up. All right, well, what does he have? He only has 6 points. That's enough for his 2 battles. And he's going to do them. Saruman first. B sorcery 2. He gets +1. That gives him +2 on the infinite to 1. A 6. 50%. Yay, he wins in Dol Amroth. Okay, and then this other one here with the Lord of the Nazgul. And the Lord rolls poorly. He'll be at -1 on the 1-to-1 table. 3. Well, he managed to kill himself another Fellowship character. And this time, that's poor old Faramir. Not Finch Faramir, but just Faramir. Reference to dead birds or something. With 3, that's 20% each. Take the casualties, see what happens, but it's looking worse and worse for the Fellowship player.